Secretary Rubio, do you know what this is?
I'm sorry, my Lasix is not as good as
That's
it used
all
to
right,
be.
I'll explain. This is a ready-to-use therapeutic food, also known as a RUF. It's produced in the United States by Adesia Nutrition in Rhode Island and Manny Nutrition in Georgia from American-grown farm products. A single box that I have right here of this miracle product can save a child from dying of severe acute malnutrition in only 6 to 10 weeks. Now, since January, you have promised over and over again that foreign aid freezes will not include life-saving assistance. RUF saved the lives of children who are starving around the world. Do you agree that this product is life-saving aid?
It can be, yes.
Well, Secretary Rubio, the World Food Program estimates that 8,000 children die from hunger every day. Until last Friday, over 123,000 RUF boxes were purchased for Sudan, but were sitting in Rhode Island in a warehouse because of State Department delays. So my question for you is, are you doing everything you can to keep starving children from dying?
There was no State Department delays to that being deployed. There may have been other delays, but it wasn't State Department.
There were State Department delays. And it is clear that you have not done everything you can do to keep these kids from starving, because there are another 185,000 boxes of RUFs that the US government and taxpayers have already paid for sitting in that same warehouse, all because the State Department doesn't have a plan, doesn't have its stuff together to get this rolling. So I can think of several countries where this aid is desperately needed, where these boxes of RUFs could save hundreds of thousands of children's lives. And these delays have real consequences, not just for starving children, but also jobs at home. I talked to the CEO of Adesia, who said they had to lay off 10% of their team due to the lack of payments from the US government and a lack of clarity in March. So Secretary Rubio, will you commit to making decisions needed to move the remaining 185,000 boxes of RUFs to countries that need them by the end of this week?
Well, I'd be interested to learn what those impediments
Well,
are.
we've been talking about this for a while. I've sent you letters since
But there's
January.
no impediment on our end to
there
distributing
are
that.
impediments.
There are
I'm
others.
speaking
Part of
directly
it,
to the
Sudan
source.
is a war zone.
Secretary,
I mean,
I'm
that's an
reclaiming my
impediment.
time. This exists
other
as a
impediments.
problem, and you have not acted.
That's false.
And maybe it's the case that you have too many jobs, because I know it's the case. It must be a lot to be the National Security Advisor, the National Archivist, or the head of USAID. That's a lot. I understand a lot of footballs. You a football player, that's a lot of balls to catch. But the issue here is we have children who are dying. So will you commit to continuing to fund the production, transportation, and distribution of these domestically produced life-saving products to save starving children around the world?
They're approved now.
They are not moving. I just told you about 185,000 boxes in Rhode Island. I live there.
And you need to figure out why they're not moving, because it is an impediment from us.
Sir, you need to figure out. That's actually your job, sir.
No, it's no impediment from the State Department.
Well, Mr. Secretary, it seems like you will not make a commitment.
Us.
Sir, it seems like you refuse to make a commitment.
We do more of that than anybody in the world, and we're going to continue to do it. We're going to continue to do food aid. We're going to do more food aid than any country on the planet times 10.
Well, that's a lot of talk. But I believe
those are numbers.
Seeing is believing, and there is not to be seen.
Those are numbers. Those are facts. We do more foreign aid.
Well, I've got numbers. I've got 185,000 boxes that aren't moving. So,
yeah, but the State Department doesn't move
boxes. I'm going to do you a little favor.
We authorize them.
Mr. Secretary, I'm reclaiming my time, sir. I'm going to do you a favor.
To move. Well, you ask questions you don't want anybody answer. I'm telling you, they're allowed to move.
And I have a question for you, and you're compelled to answer. Why don't you take 10 seconds now to turn to your staff and say, let's get this fixed?
My staff knows that this has been fixed.
It
There's no
hasn't been
impediment
fixed.
on the State Department
Well, then
side.
you have not proven that to me. If the people who are affected, both here domestically and around the world, are not receiving this life-saving product.
They are receiving it.
Look, you staked your career in the Senate on supporting humanitarian aid, but now you won't make a commitment, or you're saying things have been done that haven't been done.
Commitment.
You've made a commitment?
We do more food aid than anybody in the world, and we're doing more today than anybody in the world.
Secretary, I'm reclaiming my time. You are speaking in generalities. I'm talking about specifics.
I'm speaking in specifics. We do more than anybody in the world, and we're doing more than anybody in the world right now at this very moment.
That's hyperbole, sir, because this has been disrupted because of your freezing of aid.
Who does more food aid than the United States?
Sir, why are you asking me questions? My job is to ask you questions.
You're the one that's claiming that
Secretary, I'm reclaiming my time. Secretary, I'm reclaiming my client. This is why I'm introducing the Rubio Act. So you focus on the one job that the Senate gave you to serve as our Secretary of State, because you are clearly distracted, okay? After the last few months, I understand why President Trump has such colorful nicknames for you. You're obedient. You're following the rules. You will do anything the president tells you to do without regard for the law, the Constitution, America's security, or standing as a leader in the world. Unlike you, I do not fear crossing Donald Trump. I refuse to give up on these children. I will be calling you once a week until you take action to fund RUF and actually prove that you're doing this job to make sure you know how many children have died on your watch. Will you pick up my call?
No children are dying on
Will
our
you
watch.
pick up my call, sir?
Pick up your call?
When I call you to check in on your progress.
Our
Gentleman's
progress
time
has
has
already been
expired.
made. We already do
Representative
more than
Mills is
anybody in the world.
recognized.
No, but he's made some strong accusations here. We're doing more than anybody in the world. That food is being distributed now, and he knows that.
What we just watched was a heated and revealing exchange. Congressman Gabe Amo held up a small red box of ready-to-use therapeutic food, or RUTF, and made the stakes painfully clear. That little box can pull a starving child back from the edge of death in as little as 6 weeks. He confronted Secretary Rubio with the fact that 185,000 of these boxes, already paid for by American taxpayers and produced with American farm products, were just sitting in a warehouse in Rhode Island instead of being shipped to starving children in war-torn regions. Amo's point was simple and devastating. When bureaucracy stalls, children die. Now, why does this matter beyond the clash we just saw? Because RUTF isn't just another foreign aid line item. It's one of the greatest humanitarian innovations of the past 2 decades. It's lightweight, shelf-stable, doesn't require refrigeration, and can be administered at home by parents instead of requiring hospitalization. That's why it's called a miracle food in global health circles. And every day of delay means thousands of children around the world continue to die from hunger that could have been prevented. Amo also connected the dots back home. The company making these life-saving products, located in Rhode Island, had to lay off workers because government payments and approvals weren't coming through. That means this isn't only a humanitarian issue overseas, it's an American jobs issue too. Farmers, factory workers, logistics teams, all of them are tied to whether or not Washington can keep its commitments. When aid stalls, both the children abroad and the workers here at home lose. Rubio's response was telling. He leaned heavily on broad claims like the United States does more food aid than anyone else in the world. That may be true in aggregate numbers, but it completely dodges the specific crisis Amo put in front of him: 185,000 boxes already purchased, not moving. Generalities don't save a single starving child. Action does. And when pressed for evidence that the State Department was actually fixing the problem, Rubio gave none. This clash also pulls back the curtain on something larger: how partisan politics can endanger core humanitarian programs that have long enjoyed bipartisan support. Food aid has always been one of the few areas where Democrats and Republicans agreed, because feeding starving children shouldn't be controversial. But when aid freezes, delays, and political posturing get in the way, that bipartisan foundation cracks, and the people who pay the price are the most vulnerable children on Earth. There's a deeper lesson here, too. Aid isn't charity, it's strategy. When America provides food aid, it's not only saving lives, it's strengthening global stability, building goodwill, and reducing the root causes of conflict and migration. A starving population is far more vulnerable to extremism and chaos. So, when those RUTF boxes sit idle, it's not just a moral failure, it's a national security failure, too. What Amo did in that hearing was hold up the evidence and refuse to let the conversation slip into abstract numbers and talking points. He demanded accountability, real answers, real timelines, real proof. And that's exactly what oversight is supposed to look like. So what can viewers take away? First, the U.S. has the tools and the resources to prevent mass child hunger, but political delays can make those tools meaningless. Second, food aid saves lives abroad and supports jobs at home. It's not either or, it's both. And third, we need leaders willing to push past rhetoric and insist on results. If you believe children shouldn't die waiting on paperwork, stay engaged, follow these hearings, raise your voice, and make sure your representatives know you expect food aid to be prioritized over politics. Share this breakdown, start conversations, and remind people that foreign aid isn't about handouts, it's about humanity, security, and American leadership.